Yo, I wanted to have a little chat about the coronavirus. Obviously, it's quite a controversial topic, so I'm not going to go too crazy. I just wanted to, give my take on the pandemic and what's gone on. I think there's two ways of looking at it. Obviously, the government haven't handled it perfectly. Not that I think any government would have. Things haven't gone great as far as like the economy's pretty much gone to shit. Loads of people have lost their jobs, and it's not great for a lot of people. But I think, like everything, there is a silver lining, and you're much better off just looking at the positive side. Which I think the best way to describe this pandemic is it's a really good dress rehearsal. What I mean by that is this disease was not the disease it was hyped up to be. I think the projected death stats in America was something like 2 million. They thought it was going to kill a lot more people than it did, which I think that idea was echoed around the world. And God knows how that happened, but it ended up being, thank God, that it wasn't as deadly as it was made out to be. But I think something it definitely highlighted that is obviously in my sphere is that people are taking for granted health. I feel like if this pandemic has done nothing, it's made people realise that you can't take health for granted. You don't just have health. Your body, it's a machine that your heart beats from the day you were born to the day you die. You've got to look after it. You've got to look after your whole body. And I feel like this pandemic, this disease, specifically COVID-19, it highlighted the people who, obviously it's not everyone's fault. Some people have diseases and stuff like comorbidities that they can't affect, like diabetes type 1, for example. But if you're someone who's neglected their body, whether it's you're obese and then you've got type 2 diabetes, whether it be you smoked your whole life and you've had 50 years of chain smoking and now your lungs can't take it when a disease comes along like COVID-19. I think it highlights that, and I think people, they need to realise that you can't take for granted your health. You won't always have it. Eventually you're going to die, and it's up to you what quality of life you have while you're here and how long you're here. I hope to see people after this pandemic going to gyms, eating better. I'm hoping that government funding gets pumped into, educating people on how to stay healthy, whether it be through exercise, through nutrition. And I think it needs to start at sort of like the school level, to be honest. Not just have Jamie Oliver telling people what good foods and bad foods are. That doesn't help anyone. I think if you're one of the people that, say you have smoked your whole life, or, you've got to this point where you are obese, I think it's very important now you've seen this, if you don't go and change your lifestyle, now the burden of responsibility gets put onto you. If you're not looking after your body, you have to realise that just being alive is not a given. There's always diseases developing, evolving, and they can jump to humans at any point, literally. We got lucky with this disease that it was not as deadly as it could have been. So if you've lived through this COVID-19 pandemic and you're still going to keep smoking like a fucking chimney, you're still going to constantly eat like shit, you're never going to exercise, you cannot expect anything less than to be vulnerable. That's just the way it's going to be. And we as a society have to make the decision as to whether the NHS and the economy at large should have to pay the price for someone's negligence to their own body. This is the best dress rehearsal for a pandemic we're going to get. If you're looking for education, then fair enough. If you don't know how to look after your body, if you don't know what's bad for you, don't know what's good for you, there's people like me on the internet. We're constantly putting out content that's going to teach you nutrition, exercise, that will not only keep diseases like this at bay when they do come around, but you'll feel better in everyday life. It's about time people started really improving themselves, making themselves more healthy. Because if you don't, we know what's going to happen. Another disease, COVID-20, whatever it's going to be called, could roll around any time. It could literally turn up tomorrow. And, if you've done nothing about it after this, then I don't know what to tell you. The burden of responsibility is now onto you. So if you need any help, there's people like me on the internet to help you. But you've got to start acting. You've got to start taking responsibility for your own health. That's the only way this is going to work.